I had a midfoot fusion and bone graft for a Lisfranc dislocation on July 30th, 2024. In this video, I will be talking about week 17 of recovering after the surgery. That week, I was working on some of the following things. I was increasing walking and taking some 15-minute walks that week. I was continuing strengthening exercises and physical therapy for my right leg, as well as working on my balance. I began increasing my gym visits to 3 times a week. I was making sure to pay attention to how my foot was feeling and taking breaks to ice and rest my foot since my foot was still recovering. I was starting to practice going down the stairs with alternating feet, which was really difficult since my right foot and ankle were having trouble fully moving together to move downwards on a step. I drove a couple more times on very short distances. Even though I was still dealing with a fair amount of soreness, pain, and swelling and needed to continue following a conservative treatment as recommended by my surgeon in the appointment that I had at the end of that week, I made incredible progress during this week and I was really proud of myself for how far I had come since the surgery. Tuesday, November 19th, 2024, day 112 after my surgery. I drove to the grocery store with light compression socks on, since my physical therapist had recommended I tried using some since she was concerned about the amount of swelling I had gotten from my last drive. The grocery store was just a 3 to 4 minute drive from my house, and I went to pick up a few little things. It was a really good recommendation that she had made, and my foot did feel a lot better with the compression. The sock did start to feel a little bit tight, and my foot got really sore, and while I was driving I could still feel some resistance behind the brake and the accelerator. However, it was a much better experience compared to last Saturday when I hadn't used the compression socks. With the compression, I didn't have as much pain, soreness, and swelling for the couple of hours after driving. Matt and I went to trivia night that evening, and it was nice being able to go without a walking boot and crutches for the second week in a row. The place we go to gets kind of crowded, and although everyone was really nice and helpful towards me, it is so much easier navigating the space without needing crutches and also without having to keep my foot elevated on a chair the entire time. Matt and I went to the gym after trivia night because our goal was to start going 3 times a week. My foot got pretty sore and my legs were tired, but it was great getting back into a more regular routine like what we had been doing before our surgeries over the summer. Wednesday, November 20th, 2024, day 113 after my surgery. I went on a 15-minute walk using the compression socks. The socks did help. My foot hurt while I was walking and it got a bit worse when I got home, so I needed to ice it and elevate it. I was feeling a lot of pressure in my foot and the arch did not feel so great either. I was excited to be getting more movement in though, and being able to walk for 15 minutes was also feeling like a big success because I was slowly working towards my previous activity levels. I was able to get some cleaning and organizing done around the house with breaks to rest and elevate my foot, which felt really nice because there were some things that I had been wanting to do for quite a while, but my foot had not been up to it before. My foot still got sore and painful when I was standing on it for more than about a minute or so I had to avoid activities that required standing in place for too long or use the knee scooter to rest my right leg on it while I was doing that activity. Thursday, November 21st, 2024, day 114 after my surgery. I had physical therapy and it did feel a bit easier with the compression socks. The balance exercises were still really hard for me, but I could feel myself getting a bit better at those as well. I could do the 3 sets of 10 standing heel raises without needing to hold on to anything for balance for the first time that day. My foot got pretty sore, but the exercises and physical therapy were starting to feel more manageable, and I could feel my foot and ankle becoming more stable. I also tried the BAPS balance board at a higher level that day, level 3, just to see if I could do it and to challenge myself. The physical therapist said that typically she personally didn't have her patients move on beyond the level 2 height, but I really wanted to see if I was able to do the next level up. It was a bit more manageable than I thought it was going to be, but still challenging. She said that she probably wouldn't have me be doing the BAPS board anymore after that day, but at my next session she asked if I felt that it was enough of a challenge for me to keep it in the rotation of exercises, and I felt like it was. Also, it felt like a really good range of motion stretch at the end of sessions after all of the other exercises that I was doing. Matt and I did the gym in the evening. It was a bit more tiring than I thought it would be to go up to 3 times a week, but it also felt really good to have the routine. My foot was handling the increase in activity surprisingly well. Friday, November 22nd, 2024, day 115 after my surgery. I walked for 18 minutes, which was about 0.63 miles. I was getting a little faster at walking, although my foot still felt a bit stiff. It was also getting a little easier to walk. My foot did hurt a bit the rest of the evening from the slightly longer walk, so I had to keep it elevated, and I made sure to ice it as soon as I got home. I was practicing walking down the stairs with alternating feet. I wasn't always able to manage the entire flight down the stairs with alternating feet because it really wasn't easy getting my foot and ankle to coordinate the movement walking downwards down the stairs, but I was working on it. Saturday, November 23rd, 2024, day 116 after my surgery. I didn't do as much walking that day because the weather was very cold and rainy and humid. Matt and I were hoping to see the fireworks for Light Up Night, which is our city's kickoff event to the Christmas season. But the weather was not the best for that, and since it was rainy, I would not have been able to sit down anywhere, which would have been problematic because my foot was still being in recovery and it was hard for me to stand up for extended periods of time. It was very disappointing, but we were able to still walk down to a nearby restaurant and get some steps in and enjoy an evening together. My foot was starting to feel better in sneakers, and I stopped needing to wear the gauze pads over my scar to protect it, which was pretty exciting. Sunday, November 24th, 2024, day 117 after my surgery. I practiced some of my old range of motion exercises to compare both of my feet, and my right foot, the surgical foot, seemed to be almost as flexible as the left one. My right foot still felt a bit stiff, but far less stiff than the week before. It was crazy to think how much progress I had been making. It was a lot of work, but it was worth it, and I was starting to feel really happy that I had done the surgery. I wished I had done the surgery sooner and had gotten the second opinion sooner so that I would have had less of a painful recovery from the surgery and not given myself arthritis in my knee, but I was happy to finally have done the surgery and be recovering so well. Matt and I went to the gym, and I was starting to have an easier time with the workouts. My foot would get sore and a little puffy, but the compression socks helped, and I was getting used to going 3 times a week. Matt and I met some of our friends for wing night, and I was able to drive us over and back. My foot got pretty sore after, and I needed to ice it, and it continued to be sore for a while, but it wasn't painful at all while driving, and I felt less pressure while pressing down on the brake and accelerator. In all, I was able to manage a 20 to 25 minute round trip drive, and I was very proud of myself. Monday, November 25th, 2024, day 118 after my surgery. In the morning, I drove to the grocery store and did some grocery shopping on my own. The short drive felt a little easier, and it didn't feel like there was as much resistance behind the pedals. My foot also did surprisingly well with walking around the grocery store. My foot did get sore after 30 minutes, and I wasn't walking very fast, but overall it went pretty well. Standing in line to pay was the most challenging part of the trip because standing in place tends to become painful pretty quickly. Matt drove me to the surgeon for a 4-month checkup in the afternoon, and I walked in no problem with no walking boot and no mobility aid for the first time since the surgery. I got my x-rays and they showed more bone fusion. There was still some gapping, but the surgeon said that it was a typical area to have less fusion, so he was not concerned about it. Otherwise, he said that it showed a well-aligned midfoot with no evidence of delayed healing. The surgeon recommended another 4 weeks of physical therapy to continue working on strengthening and gait training. I was supposed to avoid high-impact activity for another 2 months and continue what he called conservative treatment and return to see him for 1 more visit in about 2 months. He said to continue slowly increasing walking and driving, but that I needed to be careful as I increased those activities because if I did too much at once, then my foot would have difficulty recovering. He also said that some swelling would be typical for up to a year after the surgery. After my appointment, I took a 15-minute walk. I honestly could not have imagined doing all of that in 1 day just the week before. My foot did hurt a bit for a while after, and I realized afterwards that maybe I should have walked less or split that walk into 2 walks. But after taking Advil and elevating and icing my foot for the rest of the evening, it did get better. I was still learning what my limits were as I recovered from the surgery, which some days were difficult when my foot was feeling better until suddenly it wasn't. I was still getting pressure inside my foot where the hardware was installed, which was a very weird feeling. As usual, for those of you who have stuck around for this entire video, thank you so much for listening. I hope that these videos are helpful, and feel free to let me know how you all are doing in the comments, and I look forward to seeing you all again soon.